Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's April 24th and we're going to do a propagation video update. We're going to start down here where we've propagated some of our ones from last year and see how they're doing. Now we're down here at the elderberries. This whole row down here is elderberries. They're starting to take off. They didn't take off very good last year. You can see they're just starting to bud, so it won't be long they'll be flowering. I got to get down here with the mower and weed whacker and take care of some of these. But we'll look at the fig trees from last year that's in the ground. Now most of these froze back to the ground, and some hadn't come back out. This Gino right here, there's no signs from it yet, when the other one next to it is coming back from the base. And when that's the case with a lot of these from last year, they shouldn't have froze. Some shouldn't have froze back, but they did. Some are coming back. This Black Madeira KK is coming back. We've been down here and weeded, and looks like I'm going to have to come back down here and weed some more right next to them. This Black Madeira KK right here doesn't show any signs of it, and it could have been that it's actually dead all the way down, but we're not going to. We're going to give them about another month to before we say that they're completely gone. This Chicago Hardy, there's no reason it shouldn't have come back. It should have took our hold fine. Same with this one. But this Chicago Hardy here, he is coming back. So you know, it's a hit and miss thing. The LSU purple here, it's not doing too good. But this one here is doing good, and we're going to get rid of this thistle. We'll have them all over, but it's coming back from the base on it. Same with this one. And this one here starting, so you can see they're just starting. Now this Texas Everbearing, it should have took the temperatures fine, but it didn't. Another one, but there's not any of these figs that I have, and 9 degrees shouldn't have been enough to kill a lot of these back to the ground, but it definitely did. And but a lot of them's coming back. Some of them yet. This is my compost fig, which I really like. Now these last ones on this row are all the same kind, but they hadn't come back. Now I did propagate some more. Now this one just now, of course, this hadn't to fight the little weeds coming in here, but I'm sure it's got better rootstock than the weeds do. But it's just now coming back, and that's why I don't want to figure on that I'm going to have to replace them and fill that hole. Now I've got to rerun my drip line on this one. This was one, if you know, earlier we just composted these rows last year. Of course, we come back and composted all of them again, but in the middle of the year we composted it and didn't pull the hose up. We was in a hurry, and the roots all come in amongst it. Now this next row, this is a one I call SFA. This is from Dr. Creech at SFA, one that I'd got a cutting from a friend of mine that had bought one at the Arboretum show. And then the Black Mission's coming back. It's looking good on this row so far, but I might speak too soon. No signs on this one. No signs on this, except look like a acorn tree coming, an oak tree coming up from an acorn. This Black Madeira KK, no signs yet. My Marcellus Black BS is not. Now these acorns get to being blown around and and if I don't watch those trees early, that one's not showing any signs yet. This one here is starting to come out. Now my Desert King, I didn't have any propagation that took from the Desert King, so I'm hoping that it comes back. Now the soil temperature might not be quite warm enough for them or something. I don't know. We're going to make sure that we wait a bit, like I say. And if I get the drip line on here, it'll make a difference. Now my Canadria, it's came back. And then next row's up the hill a little bit here. Now on this row, this was a Celeste, but it's no sign of anything. Now this white Adriatic is coming back from the base, along with this one. This one's doing real well. This one here, no signs yet. And my unknown, no signs yet from it. Another SFA that's not doing too well. And that's it for that row. Up here, my unknown is not coming back, and this unknown is not coming back. This Texas Everbearing. Now this row was put in later than the others, so it might not got established as good, and definitely the weeds want to come in here. We've worked on, we mowed them down and cleaned up, but going to have to get back in here. I don't know how many varieties I've lost. This Brunswick here, and this one, and this one. None of these have come back. This Cadota, no signs yet. Of course, I have a replacement to put in there if I need to. It looks like none of my Desert Kings. I might have to replace a brown turkey down here. I can do that. And this row I don't really show too much when I do my garden tours. And this is my Roselle hibiscus. Now it's young. It likes the heat, but I put it in early this year, so hopefully I can get it to flower and collect some calyxes off of it. Now we have this last row, and there's a Chicago Hardy with no signs. Another Desert King, and it's not. White Adriatic. Now this here, Brunswick. So I do have a Brunswick still, so I didn't lose that variety. Hopefully I'll have more than that one. This Marcellus Black BS is just coming back from the bottom, and I got to get down here in the next few days with the weed eater and the lawnmower and clean this up. Now my Violet de Bordeaux, no signs yet of that one, but this one here is coming back from the roots, so that's great. It's just rough when they have so many. You know, there's another Violet de Bordeaux that's coming back. That's Celeste, no signs. And it could be they're just waiting on these Celestes to come back a little bit later. It's not quite got real hot. But anyway, that's all the figs down here. We'll look at the few up by the house, and then the ones that we have propagated. And these are my first 5 fig trees. Now this is a Texas Everbearing, and it definitely it got froze back. It's showing a little bit of green in there, but most of this is it's just really dry. So I don't know if it'll come back any from the bottom or not. It looks like it's got a split in the trunk there. You know, the cold is pretty rough on it. Now, this one is dry too, but you can see it's already shooting a bunch back from the bottom. In fact, it's really getting crazy down there. So we'll see how it does and whether we might need to manage some of that. I had a Cadota. I cut this back, and it doesn't appear to be coming back up yet. And these two brown turkeys, this one and the other one here, they were actually later last year come back, but they're already coming back. So, but they did the same way, came back from the bottom. I am in the process of uppotting a few of mine. They're in the workshop. We still have these to uppot. These are a few of the ones that have recently been potted up. They were some of the same ones I'm potting up now, and then these are some of the older ones, and they're really doing good as far as growth wise. On these, we have a few more that's lined in right here beside our tomatoes, which we need to move because they're still not getting quite the amount of light they might need if they're going to be put out. Now we can go down to the other end here. Through the jungle of plants, and we have a bunch more right here, different varieties, and you can see they're doing good. We've got them, some of them's up as high as probably 18 inches or so. They're really taking hold good. Like I say, my method is to move them up as soon as roots get to the edge of the pot or get enough to hold the media together while they're being moved to the next pot. That way they don't ever lose their size. Now, one here, this little Brooklyn White, it's looking a little pitiful, but it got moved up anyway. And then these ones here really need to be moved up. A lot of them, a lot of people leave them in this 1 gallon size, but when the roots start all coming out the bottom, and then they start air pruning themselves off. So they're definitely, that's not a good thing. It's always better to move them up as early as possible. We do have just a few more here. These right here are, and over to there, they're not quite ready. Some of them won't make it. We do have our elderberries here. Some of these are doing better than the others. They're probably getting close to time to pot them up. And then we have our pomegranates, the wonderful that's still it's not quite ready to go. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, what's your percentage of loss, you know, when you start rooting or propagating cuttings? And this year the percentage has been high, because I'm going to say at least 60, maybe 65% loss. And I had a lot of problems with fungal gnats that I didn't catch early on, and plus I had some type of fungus that was eating the cuttings. And I tried redoing some, and some of these right here are some that were redone, cut off, and stuck back. A lot of them didn't make it. And of course, when it's a new variety and you lose all your cuttings that you pay for, it's one thing. Now it's not so bad on a lot of mine where I lost cuttings, and they were some that I'd taken from my uh, orchard, so I didn't have to pay for them. But it's still, when you end up with a winter that kills everything back to the ground, and if you do lose some that were younger that didn't have a good root uh, system yet, and you've got to replace those, well, then it does kind of devastate your plans. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this update, and of course, if you want to see more updates, just hit that subscribe. And of course, what I want to always say is enjoy that gardening experience.